Good morning, social media friends, connections, and others who maybe you just found this on a YouTube channel or you found this on one of the social media platforms. Welcome. Good morning to you. My name is Bill. You are here joining me in this episode of Real Living in Milwaukee. And so, with that, let me bring in my co host today. Angela Walters. By the way, a little secret. She's on the move today. You will see what I mean in a little bit. So here comes. Hello, Ms. Walters.
Hello there.
And again, good morning to all of you who have either tuned in to watch us live, or if you're watching this as a recording, the outcome is kind of the same. If you're watching us live, though, I must admit you're more than welcome to chime in with any questions or comments, and we will certainly engage with you, follow up with you to maybe get you the answers that you want or respond back to you. Okay. So all of this being said, let me warm Angela up. As you can see, given where she lives, given where she runs her business, it is in the state of Wisconsin where it can get cold. Yeah. So warming you up, Angela. Nothing to do with real estate yet. What are some of your favorite places to go see fall colors in or near Milwaukee?
Wow. That's a good question. One of the things I enjoy doing is driving on these little county roads.
Yes.
Not the big expressways, but the county roads that might take you up to like Holy Hill, for instance, in Wisconsin. It's so gorgeous to see these trees changing color, the leaves changing colors. Highway, it reminds me of those beautiful pictures that you see sometimes with the highway, the fall leaves.
Yeah.
Take your phone out and take a picture and not have to pay all that money buying a photo when you can take your own and just frame it. That's a wonderful place to be in the fall. Also, just being at the parks. I think, seeing the leaves on the ground. Right now we still have a combination of a little bit of green grass and the fall leaves. So I think it's perfect timing, even though I will say most of the time here in the Midwest, the temperature it seems like it goes from summer straight to winter sometimes based on the temperature.
I know. We never get that slow, easy transition. It's like flip of the switch.
Exactly. Like one day you're wearing shorts and the next day you got a big coat with a scarf on. So
Yeah, I'm with you. By the way, I love how you describe how you enjoy the fall colors because you're absolutely right. I enjoy that same description as well. Why? Because you can drive without people that you have to watch out for. You can enjoy the fall colors on the left, right, in front of you, and back of you. Locally, for me, maybe this place, Morton Arboretum is a nice place to go.
yeah.
Right. But another place I really enjoy, especially like you driving, and let's be real, maybe we love to drive fast as well, is along the Fox River in or near like St. Charles and Batavia.
Yeah. Very.
So,
That's one thing about the Midwest is it's very scenic.
yes.
If you've traveled to other states like where the plains and it's nothing going on but just straight grass. If you ever travel through Iowa, you know what I'm talking about. But if in Wisconsin, there's hills, there's trees, there's so much to look at on a drive that you don't even have to spend a lot of money. So definitely a wonderful place to be.
Sure. So ladies and gentlemen, today we obviously have the pleasure and we see Angela is sharing her time co-hosting this episode with me in the car. Why? Because, well, Angela, how do I say this? A day in the life of your business where you're moving and shaking, right?
Exactly. I just came from a commercial property that I'm listing, and dealing with the inspections and the floor plans and the tenants and things of that sort. So, day in the life of a realtor.
There you go. There you go, everyone. So let's now jump right in, lean into our conversation today. Let's start off with the most obvious thing. This is something I know you know off the top of your mind. And can you share with all of us who are watching this live or as a recording, what are the current trends and a local market update in and near Milwaukee as it relates to real estate, Angela?
Yeah. So the market here is still strong. I want to say that buyers are still buying homes. We all know that the interest rates have increased, which is not ideal. But I like to remind people that, historically speaking, the interest rates are still pretty low. We just were spoiled for the last so many years where we saw, interest rates in the threes, fours, even sometimes 2%.
Right.
But historically, interest rates are still very good. They're in the sevens. And, so that's caused things to slow down a little bit. Also, with it going into the winter months,
Yeah.
look at the cyclical changes in real estate. It's typically a little bit slower during this time of year. We've got not only the cold weather, but we've got the Packers playing football, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people are inside on Sundays watching the Packer games
Yeah.
and having Packer parties and stuff. So you don't have quite as much buying activity. But what that means for buyers is it's a great time to buy because there's less competition.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah.
less means that you might be able to negotiate a little bit on that purchase price. It is still a seller's market. Although we are seeing more inventory, but it's not nearly the amount of inventory that we need in order to make it more of a balanced market. So it is still a seller's market. Sellers are still getting very close to their asking price for properties, but still a lot of buyer demand. So would
Okay.
encourage people to get out there. If you're thinking about buying a home, this is a perfect time. You can even get in before Christmas.
Yeah, you can.
Be a wonderful present for your family. And for those that are thinking about selling, a lot of times it's less um, competition in terms of properties out there because some people decide they want to wait until after the holidays to list. So if you put your property on the market right now, it could actually sell very quickly because you've got less competition.
Yep. And using the song from Rihanna, do it now. Maybe your home will shine bright like a diamond.
Oh, that's good. I do want to say people have beautiful holiday decorations.
Yes.
The time to really make their home shine. For people to come through and all the lights and all that kind of stuff, it can definitely shine like a diamond and cause you to even maybe get more money for it.
Bingo. Right on, right on. With you're describing that it's still a seller's market, and locally here, for me in the Chicago metro area, I still see the same thing. Are you seeing multiple offers across every price point or just certain ones?
Just certain ones.
Okay.
Gonna depend on the neighborhood, location.
Right, right.
The thing is condition. I'm going to say condition, because people, buyers today, they love a move-in ready home that's completely updated,
Yeah,
that's staged very well. Those properties tend to sell the fastest and get the most offers on them.
yeah,
So the combination of wonderful condition and location, you really hit a perfect combination for a home that's going to sell very quickly and for the highest price.
okay. So in your opinion, now putting you on the spot, Angela, when you represent a seller, your seller, and there are multiple offers, in your professional opinion, is the highest dollar price always the winning offer, or could it be something else?
That's a good question. The highest dollar amount is not always the winning offer.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, there are a couple reasons why. Sometimes when people go way over the asking price, then because the sellers are working with a professional realtor like myself, we're giving them advice and we're making that seller aware of the fact that this looks very good at the surface level.
Right.
However, we have to make sure that that property appraises out at that value.
True.
If I can't find any supporting comps or comparable homes that have sold in the neighborhood, there's a chance that it may not appraise at that value. So
Right.
sometimes sellers don't want to take the risk of that. So instead, they go with a price that they think is more closely aligned. So that's one example.
Yeah.
Another example is that when a buyer offers significantly over the asking price or a much higher, stronger offer, but they have contingencies in the offer
Mm.
that kind of make it not quite as attractive, the seller may look at that and then weigh their options and say, well, would we rather go with this higher price one that has inspection, appraisal, radon testing, they want closing cost credit,
Yeah.
want all these things in their offer. And if that doesn't work for the seller, or if they don't like the buyer's financing, then
Right.
the may say, we're not going to go with that offer. Instead, we're going to go with this cash offer,
Right.
a little bit less, not significant less, but a little bit less. And that one is they're willing to buy it as is. So
Yeah.
it's easy money. So
Yeah. Easy
I
money.
take easy money than they are the one that has a lot of strings attached to it.
Very true. Very true. So along the same topic of when you represent sellers, a seller, many sellers,
Yeah.
what are the top three misperceptions that you think sellers either accidentally have, and sometimes you feel like, okay, I've got to re-inform them, re-educate them to get back on the right track?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I would say is because sellers hear the news and they hear a lot about what's happening with the market, sometimes they can think that they can overprice their home. That
Yes.
they can, hey, the prices are going up, the inventory is low, so I want to try to get it for this particular dollar amount.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
And I will say that it's been proven that that does not work. The longer or the higher you price your home, above what is recommended, above what the comparable homes are showing, the longer it's going to stay on the market.
Yeah.
And so sometimes sellers, they want the most money, but they also want a fast sale. And sometimes those things, they counteract each other. So, so it's important to do that. The other one about that high price is that buyers are very smart and they're not going to pay more than what they think that house is worth.
True.
Be proven by the number of days that it sits on the market. Although the inventory is low, buyers are still very savvy and they are not going to overpay for a
Right.
house. So pricing it too high is one of the biggest misconceptions I've seen with sellers.
Okay.
Second one I would say is they think they don't have to do anything. Be- I'm just going to sell my house as is.
Right.
I don't need to make repairs. I don't need to stage it. Staging, why stage? It's a waste of money. You
Right.
know, be able to get by with bare minimum. But again, we're dealing with savvy buyers, and they are not going to buy a house that has a lot of issues going on.
True.
I'm going to get an inspection now. I know that buyers were waiving inspection back when the interest rates were lower in early 2022 and in 21. There was so much competition that buyers were waiving the inspection. They're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And so if they see things that are wrong, maintenance issues, they're either going to ask the seller to correct it
Hmm.
and seller's going to be crunched to try to hurry up and get it done before the closing,
Right.
or they're going to back out of the deal and
Yeah.
cancel. Thing that happen more and more. They'd rather wait. They're already not happy about paying this higher interest rate.
Right.
They're not about paying a higher price. So
Yeah.
they're not going to settle for a home that needs repairs.
Right.
So sellers have to make those repairs. And the best thing to do would be to make those repairs before you put it on the market.
Right.
And that's where we can come in as realtors to help you, identify the issues and the things that should be fixed. And we
Yeah.
can even offer to have a pre-sale home inspection.
Yeah.
We can, have provide the name and phone number of some inspectors that the seller can use to have their home inspected before they put it on the market. So they've got some time to fix those things and shop around for the best price.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So that's number 2. And number 3, I would say for sellers is thinking, oh, it's a seller's market, so I don't need a realtor. I can sell it on. I can save that real estate commission.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sign in the yard and just do it. I've had a couple people, my past clients even, approach me and say, Angela, can you help me? I love you very much, but I don't want to pay all of that commission. Tell me what I need to do.
Right.
And then I sit down and I go over everything that's involved. The fact that, okay, how are you going to market this property?
Yeah.
And most people say, well, I'm going to put it on social media. I'm going to put the sign in the yard. As social media is a great way to get information, to be able to connect with your friends and family members and things of that sort. But when it comes to getting ready, willing, and able buyers, it has a very low conversion rate.
It does.
Look at the properties and they love looking at the pictures, but the chances of you getting your buyer there is going to be very slim.
Yeah.
And so I explained to them that in order to get the property on the multiple listing service, the MLS, you have to use a licensed realtor, and that's where your buyer is going to come from.
Right.
Because where realtors have access to it. And we're already working with pre-approved buyers. And all we have to do is say, hey, buyer ABC, this property has just propped up in your price range. Let's go and take a look at it.
Right. Right.
Marketing is a big piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, there's enough data, there's enough proof that a lot of DIY sellers, FSBO, for sale by owner sellers, let's call it like it is. If we can do everything DIY, great. However, there are certain things in life you just don't want to do that with. And the data, the trends have shown a lot of for sale by owners, they may start off that way, but eventually they come to the reality, I cannot do this by myself. I need professional help. On top of that, I will share this with you. Think about this. For all of you watching us today, think about this. If you are thinking about doing a for sale by owner, would you want to open up your home to everybody that you really don't know? You don't have a professional vetting that other person. There's danger in that. So seller beware.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. There's so many things that people don't think about because it seems easy, right? Put the sign in the yard. There's plenty of buyers, not enough homes. How hard can it be? Open up the door, right?
Right.
And then they buy it. But
Yes.
so many steps involved in there, and it's so time consuming.
Yeah.
So you look at the fact that not only are you marketing it, but you've also got to have all that data into the MLS system. You've got to coordinate these showing appointments and be
Right.
every single appointment, because you don't want people showing up in your house that you don't know. Not to mention the paperwork. There are so many legal documents that are in listing the house, putting it up for sale, disclosures, all sorts of documents that you have to provide to the buyer that's required by law.
Yeah.
Not when you get an offer and being able to go to that offer, the offer to purchase, that's over 20 pages of documents right there. And if you're not familiar with these forms and how to read them, you could be missing out on something very important.
Very
These
true.
are written by attorneys. Now, as realtors, we know them like the back of our hand, but would an average person know that? And
Yeah.
how much time would it take for you to get up to speed?
Yeah.
Uh, the other thing that I want to point out is, what if something goes wrong? Everybody assumes that it's all going to be smooth and roses, right?
Yeah.
But this buyer's financing begins to fall apart.
Yeah.
What does the seller do? Do they
Yeah.
know how to handle that and the communication that needs to occur? What if the appraisal doesn't come at the value? What do you do at that point? Do you just say, oh, well, as a realtor, we can do certain things to try to get that number up higher
Yeah.
for you? You know, what if there are terms in the contract that haven't been adhered to? What is your recourse when
Right.
there's a breach of contract? What happens with the earnest money?
Yeah.
There are so many ways that a seller could get themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
We, as realtors, not only are we licensed and have to take many, many hours of training to be able to sell real estate, but we constantly are having to perfect our craft through continuing educations, laws change, forms change. We are constantly having to sharpen our swords, and we're doing this every day. So we're practicing it, which makes us good at it.
Yeah.
Imagine someone who's only sold a home once before in their lifetime,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
doing it for the very first time.
Thanks.
The amount of time and effort that it takes to do that, you know, is a lot. And is it worth the stress?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you really ready to take on a part-time job or another full-time job potentially in addition to what you're already doing in order to get your home sold? So when I've shared that with my clients and gone through the whole list of everything that we have to do to make sure the process goes smoothly for them and they can transition to their next home, they're
Yeah.
like, God, where's the listing contract? It's worse
Exactly.
than I thought. And then I end up selling the home for them.
Yeah, exactly. So any of you thinking about it, it's okay to think about it, to do a for sale by owner, as Angela has just shared with you. Have a conversation with the chosen and the right local professional. That way you understand what really goes into that process. So seller beware. Sometimes there's certain things you just cannot DIY. Let's now move the conversation to the last part of our episode today, and that is, what are some buyer misperceptions? I'm going to lead you off with one, an easy one to
Okay.
warm you up, Angela. I think a very common buyer misperception is that the lowest rate for financing is the right choice for you. What are some of yours, in your opinion, Angela?
That's good. That's good. So one of the misconceptions that I've seen is where buyers say, oh, the rates are too high. I'm going to wait till they come down.
Right.
That's a big one. And I'll tell you why. Number one, we don't have a crystal ball, so we don't really know for sure when they're going to come down, right?
Right.
If we have a crystal ball, we would have been able to tell people. And we did, you know, back when the rates were really low, we said, hey, buy now. And buyer said, well, no, I'm not going to buy now because there's not enough inventory and there's too much competition. Well, those buyers are kicking themselves right now because their buying power has been cut in half.
Right.
Interest rates hikes. I mean, to go from 3.5% to over 7%, you literally, if you were getting ready to buy a $300,000 house, now you're down to 200,000. And the prices have increased on top of that.
Yeah.
Now is always the best time to buy.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. There's a saying, marry the house and date the rate.
Yes.
A house is the long-term commitment. So buy the house, get it at a good price now, because next year, the year after, I guarantee you the prices will be higher.
Yeah.
That's been trending for years now. It's going up, 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 and soon it'll be out of your price range completely, or
Yeah.
you'll be a whole nother neighborhood again. So buy the house now. Even at the current interest rate, there's so many things you can do. You can refinance later when the rate gets down, more at a more desirable level that will lower your monthly payment. Some people are doing the 2-1 buy down uh,
Yes.
interest rate,
Right.
where they're starting off with a lower rate than what's currently advertised, and
Right.
then it increase at some point. Your lender, Bill, can help you figure that out, the best way to finance. And guess what? There are even some homes where you can assume their previous mortgage. If
Yeah.
the has a VA or an FHA, a government loan, that as the buyer, they can assume a portion of that loan at the lower interest rate.
Yeah.
So definitely buy now. Do not wait thinking that rate is going to go down. You could be waiting time, paying a way higher price than you would. Not to mention all of that down payment money you spent renting, you be owning for that. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say, I just want to say something about those cash buyers super quick, because sometimes they think they can get a super low price because it's cash. No, that is not what's happening, especially not in this marketplace.
Right.
Your offer might get accepted because you are faster. It's 30, 21 days maybe instead of 45 days where the seller can get their money. That is attractive, but it's not going to be attractive enough to make them take a $20,000 difference or even a $10,000 drop off of their price by any means. But it might make your offer more attractive if your price is at their list price and they're comparing it to one that's financing. They may go with yours, or if you're buying it as is compared to someone who's buying it with an inspection contingency, that may make it more attractive.
Yeah.
But definitely can't come in with a low ball offer just because you're cash. Sellers will not do that. They're going to wait a couple more weeks to get more money. And most buyers would agree when they become sellers too, that if you're asking a certain price and someone's saying, "Hey, I'll give you 20,000 less now, or I'll give you 20,000 more if you just wait a couple more weeks." I know I would wait a few weeks to get that extra 20,000.
True. True. I think in the business that we're in, it is not just about selling real estate property. It's about helping clients, whether you're a seller, a buyer, or you're doing both, you're selling and buying simultaneously. Angela, it's always about helping people move to that next chapter. And as part of moving to that next chapter, it has to make sense for all parties involved, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got to be a win-win.
Yeah.
One. So the seller has to feel like they're getting a good price. The buyer feels like they're getting a good deal. And, everybody's happy in the meantime. And that's one of the things that, we can do as realtors. I know I pride myself and my team. We pride ourselves on creating those win-win transactions, building the relationships with our clients, and just treating them, like they're our friends and family, because we're trying to be their realtor forever. We're
Right.
trying to build up that relationship. So when they're ready to downsize, when they're ready to upsize, when they're ready to move to a different state, that we're the ones that they're contacting.
Very true. And with that said, very nice segue, everyone. For those of you watching us today, listening to this as a recording, for when you need help engaging a real estate professional and or a mortgage professional with your next chapter, think of us. It's really easy to engage us, to start a conversation. All you need to do is scan the 2 QR codes that you see here right now in the video. So, Angela, as we wrap up today's episode, be safe out there. I see a lot of other cars passing you by. It's always the other guy or gal you have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. So, audience members, social media, friends, connections who are watching us, thank you for sharing your time with us. until we see each other in the next episode. Have a good day.